Welcome to Unlocking the Truth, another podcast by Dr. Lesley Phillips.
Hello everybody, welcome to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. My name is Dr. Lesley Phillips and I will be your host for the next hour, and as usual in the studio I'm joined by Corey.
Hello, everyone.
Hello Corey.
Are you everyone?
Well, I'm the voice of everyone because...
I thought I was the voice of everyone.
Oh, well, yes, there you go. So, welcome listeners to our show this evening, and as you know, we focus on metaphysics, spirituality, everything to do with the intuitive arts and the healing arts. And every week we bring you a different topic to expand and broaden your mind in that arena. And today is no different, listeners, because we have actually got a fantastic guest that we're going to be interviewing, and I'll tell you all about her in a moment. Now, of course, as usual, because it's a talk show, you are welcome to connect with us either via email at info@drlesleyphillips.com or by phone at 604-504-7441 extension 4142, and we'd be delighted to chat with you about the discussion topic today or answer your questions. So without further ado, let me introduce our theme of the evening. And what we're actually going to talk about tonight is energy healing, but a very, very specific type of energy healing, which is ancient Hawaiian Huna healing. And our guest this evening is an expert on ancient Hawaiian Huna healing, and her name is Belinda Farrell, and let me tell you all about Belinda. When she was 48 years old, she collapsed with a herniated disc and spinal nerve damage, and she was threatened with paralysis by her physicians. They said that she was going to be paralyzed if she didn't have surgery, but she actually chose not to follow that conventional medical route, and instead applied the ancient Hawaiian healing practices that she'd been learning over the previous 3 years before she had that problem. And her back completely healed, including her childhood scoliosis. And so now, obviously, she's a huge advocate of Hawaiian Huna healing, and she shares these healing practices with others, and she's been doing that for over 15 years. And in fact, she's written a book about her work, which is called Find Your Frigging Joy. So, Belinda, welcome to the show this evening.
Well, thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here. It's an honor. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome, and we're very excited to have you on, and very keen to learn all about you and about the practices of Hawaiian Huna. First of all, can you tell us more about your personal healing journey? So you said that this event happened to you when you were 48 years old.
Well, I'm 72 now, so I've had a long array of experiences, and life is always giving us more experiences that we have to come out of, and usually I'm able to do it because of the Huna teaching. It's a self-healing process, and it has to do with really connecting with the higher part of us, because our bodies have intelligence and they know how to heal themselves. We just have to get our mind and the negative thoughts out of the way. And the reason that I healed at that time in my life, when I was, this was about 20 years ago, I didn't have any insurance for surgery. I had been a stunt car driver for many years, and when my back collapsed, I couldn't do any jobs anymore, and so my insurance was dropped. And you really have to kind of find another method, or, I had to be creative, and I had been learning the Huna for 3 years because I had been there to learn advanced methods of hypnosis and just how we heal and how we get rid of our fears. And I was introduced to the Huna on the Hawaiian Islands, on the Big Island. And I thought, well, this is great for other people. And then all of a sudden I had to be faced with healing myself.
Yeah. Well, and that's, an amazing story, but I imagine, especially in the United States, a fairly common one, because there are lots of people who find themselves in that situation of not being able to afford their health care. So I imagine that this healing practice is something that has the potential to benefit a lot of people.
Well, it's for people who really want to take an active role in their own healing. And to do that, you have to feel that you're a cause for whatever happens to you in your life. And not many people are willing to do that. They'd rather blame somebody else or, something outside of themselves. This is a real introspection of going within and finding out, how did I create this? And if I think I created it, then I can uncreate it. And when you have that thought process going on, then you're a cause and the body just learns how to do exactly what it's been trained to do. Heal itself.
Don't you think also, though, I understand that we have to take responsibility for our healing, for our lives, including our healing and our pain and our suffering. But also, don't you find that in today's society, mainstream medicine has literally brainwashed us into thinking that there's no alternative anymore? Well,
it's very true. You hit a good point, the brainwashing, and you have to be above that. You just have to think outside the box, and I guess that's what I did when I was first introduced to Huna over 20 years ago. The heart of it was self-forgiveness. And when you forgive yourself from the past, these attachments that you have to the event get neutralized, and you just become lighter, and you start feeling better. It's amazing. And for me, that was the proof in the pudding that something was going on that I could be in control of.
What did you have to forgive yourself for?
Well, we come in with so much DNA from our ancestors. We don't realize until something, maybe a button gets pushed, and then anger comes up, and then sadness comes up. We don't know where it comes from, but it's sometimes ancient, and we don't know where that all comes from. But when we study the Huna way, as things come up, we just say to ourselves, we don't have to know what it is. We just have to forgive ourselves and just say, I'm sorry to ourselves, which is linked up to our higher self. And that I love you, I forgive you, thank you. Just those 4 little phrases will help to neutralize that feeling that comes up from the event. You can't change the event because whatever happened to you happened. What you're doing is you're neutralizing the way you're looking at it, your agenda with it. Mm-hmm. And that is what drags people down and helps them to really become weakened and lose their energy.
I find that I've done, not Huna, but I've done a couple of different healing, more than a couple of different energy healing modalities. And I've found that the people I'm dealing with, when I start looking at their maladies in any way, shape, or form, they're absolutely right. It's not necessarily from today that they're ill, or that they've got a sore back, or that they've got their leg hurts or anything, or their knees. It always has to do with trauma at some point in their life, or even in a previous life. But when I start inquiring, and I can go right to the year that they had the trauma, and I have to drag this trauma out of them. You had a trauma when you were 7 years old. No, you had something there, and I can personally I can almost see it. But it had to do with your family. No. then 5 minutes later, well, my parents did get a divorce that year, but that wasn't traumatic to me.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well, we tend to stuff things down inside of us.
Definitely.
And just push them away. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay. In my book, it was on page 109. I started doing some deep breathing exercises. It's called the Ha breath. And it invites the higher self to come in as you keep doing this. And it opens up the chambers in the unconscious mind to let go of some of the things it's been holding. And it holds them there because it loves you, the unconscious, because it's running your body based on the blueprint that it has now. But it will work better when these negative emotions are expelled from the body. So I was doing some deep breaths, and what came up was this, it was a very scary event because it was of a child being thrown out into the universe like a piece of garbage. And I had no idea. I was just going through. It was like it was actually happening. This child was just moving about hundreds of miles an hour and dodging all these asteroids in the universe and scared to death. And then suddenly these hands came and lifted her up and put her into these arms of this divine being that was above all the chaos going on below. And I felt loved. I felt loved and accepted. And it was so powerful when I woke up. I was in a pool of sweat. I thought I had died and had come back to life. And I found out later that I called my mother to find out about my birth because she never wanted to talk about it. And she had finally admitted to me that she and her husband, my father, had taken me to 3 abortion clinics to get rid of the fetus.
Wow.
And so this memory that came up was how I had processed being thrown away, being tossed aside.
Wow.
So that was huge when that memory came up, because there's no way I would have allowed something like that in my waking state. We don't want to feel things like that, or, we're too busy shopping or, eating or doing things to distract us. But I was laying in bed because I couldn't move, I couldn't walk, and I was doing the Ha breathing. And so the Ha breathing is what brought these things up, and then my body started to go into a healing that was incredible, because then I could start to see myself climbing trees. And you have to have a strong back to climb trees. So I would give that thought to my unconscious mind, see myself climbing trees and get excited about it. And the unconscious sent that up to my higher self, and my higher self changed my back, healed it.
Well, that's amazing and very profound. What are some of the other practices of Hawaiian Huna besides the Ha breath?
Well, it's the forgiveness process. It's doing that like you would brush your teeth. The ancient Hawaiians would meet as a family every night at sunset, and they would let go or talk about any anger that they had during the day. And they would forgive themselves of it as the sun would go down into the water. Any hatred, any revenge, anything that prevented them from reaching their higher self. Because the higher self was considered to be, to meet your higher self is considered to be the highest thing you can do in a lifetime. Mm-hmm. And I will agree with that, because that's what healed my back.
Is that practice the one that's called Ho'oponopono?
That's right. Ho'oponopono means to make right. You're making right inside of you twice. And it's, again, I equate it with brushing your teeth, cleaning the plaque of your soul, because you're cleaning the negative thought forms that are rising up inside of you, and that gives your reality something different to look at. When you clean that, you see the world through different eyes.
It sounds like something that we should all be doing every evening when we brush our teeth.
That's right. I mean, we go out into the world and we make sure that our hair is combed and that our faces are cleaned and makeup is on, and we take care of the outside, but what's going on the inside?
Yeah,
I used to have people come to me with a list of what they would say to themselves. It's one page. And I would find that people that you think are happy on the outside just loathe themselves. They don't think very highly of themselves. For one reason or another, they're not good enough, they're not lovable, they're not worthy to receive love, they're not, this is, again, what's running their body. And when you can forgive yourself from that, it's like a metamorphosis into another world, another life, happy, being joyful.
It's amazing when you can break that pattern and take. I had an issue not as similar to yours, but I was at the gym and I hurt my back. I blew a disc and compressed 2 discs, and the first thing the doctor told me was, "You're going under the knife," and I refused. I said, "No, there's no way." But I had suffered from back pain my whole life. Well, not my whole life, but for about 35 years almost. And because I was in the moving business when I was very young, put myself through school, moving furniture. So every 3 months, my back would go. And so what happened is this compression. So I tried every means possible, physically, to take care of this. And finally, I went to an acupuncturist who gave me 4 needles 4 times and a book. And the book was Healing Back Pain. And I went home and read this tiny little book. It was about 60 pages, and it said it's all in your head. And he said, what you've got to do is go in and take control, take responsibility, forgive yourself for the issues, and then take control. You are in control of your body, completely and totally. And within 5 weeks of that, I was back at the gym. My doctor could not believe it. He said it was impossible. Well, it might have been impossible, but I was doing it.
But see, you did take responsibility and you took an active role in your own healing. Not many people will do that.
True.
My son, my only son, saw me heal from my back. He lifted me up off the floor when I couldn't walk anymore and put me in bed. Yet he had back issues and had 2 surgeries that led to him being dependent on painkillers, and then eventually he took his life because he couldn't withstand the pain. It was horrible. Yeah. And, I just, I don't know what the answer is. Some people will be attracted to doing it, like you were, and others won't. My daughter just recently had herniated disc, and she went to see a surgeon, and she signed up for the surgery, and I said, please, just look at this spine that's healthy. And I gave her a picture of the spine, and it showed how it was healthy and strong. And I said, just drink that in. And she knows she's a little bit more on the side of the Huna. She's heard it so much. And she healed it back and didn't have to have the surgery. And I'm so proud of her, and just, again, just shows you, that we can do this if we just believe.
Oh, yeah, it takes belief. It takes a strong belief, and at the same time, it doesn't. It can be done in just a passing. It just has to be, to me, it has to be, I don't know if the word's strong. I think the word is sincere. A sincere belief.
Well, when you believe or have the faith, I just knew that all I had to do was move these negative thought forms that I had. They were like blocking a pipeline up to my higher self, and that's the basis of what the Huna teaches, is to get the negative thoughts out of the way. And then the unconscious mind can get excited about what it's creating for you, of what your desire is. And it happened for me. It was amazing to be totally paralyzed and in such pain And then to be able to walk again and walk into my doctor's office and have him take an x-ray and him look at it and say, that is a perfectly aligned spine. Where did it come from?
That's amazing, isn't it? Well, Belinda, we're just going to take a short break, and then we'll be back to asking more about Hawaiian Huna. So listeners, you're listening to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley and Corian. This evening we have a fabulous guest called Belinda Farrell, who is talking to us about ancient Hawaiian Huna healing practices. And if you would like to phone up and ask about that, then you can call 604-504-7441, extension 4142, or you can write to us at info@drlesleyphillips.com. We'll be back after these few messages. Welcome back, listeners, to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. My name's Dr. Lesley Phillips, and I'm your host. And this evening on Unlocking Your Truth, we're talking to Belinda Farrell about ancient Hawaiian Huna healing practices.
That's a mouthful, right? Ancient Huna healing practices.
Yeah, try saying that really fast. So Linda, I believe that there are some special chanting practices and words that have power in the ancient Huna practice. Can you tell us about the different chanting and the different words that have healing effects?
Well, the chants are very powerful because they are frequencies. They are sound. And when you do the chant, and I've got 3 CDs that are available. One helps you to go through the forgiveness process, and it has the chants in there. And also ancient Hawaiian symbols that can transform and get rid of negative thought forms and darkness within the person's soul. And so these chants are available on my website, Huna Healing, and also on iTunes. There's one particular sound, and these are sounds. Like I've been swimming with dolphins for about 25 years, and they completely change you with the frequency and sounds of their sonar that moves through the water. And again, it's all about frequency. That's all we are. We're just dialing ourselves up to a higher frequency. The one sound in Huna is called the EO chant, and it can help to rid a person of PTSD when they chant it. I've had experiences here where, events have happened and you just, they're not very pleasant, and you close your eyes and you try to go to sleep, and yet the image keeps coming back. It's like being at war and watching people being killed in front of you. Sometimes the people coming back from war have horrible PTSD, and this is a chant that can help them to move through it. And I'll just chant it if it's okay with you.
I'd love you to. I was just about to ask you whether you'd mind doing that. So
not at all. It's, again, you're taking a deep breath and you're moving thoughts behind your eyes. And as you come back in with the exhale, you would do and then you take another deep breath. And you would keep doing that about 11 times. And then I guarantee you the stress or whatever it was that was so prominent would be less, if not completely erased. It's the cosmic erasure of, it's like, again, you're sending the thought form that's bothering you into the ether. So it's like you're sending it into the void, into the Akashic records. And for the Hawaiians, it is called the purple black. or the eo, which is sending you back to the beginnings of time to creation.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. I felt it very, very powerfully. So, you can imagine that I felt the inside of my head vibrating in different places as the tonality of the chant shifted, and actually even felt some emotions starting to come up.
So imagine doing that 11 times.
Yes, yes.
And you can do it in your car, you can do it anywhere. If you're bothered by something and you can't go to sleep, that is the chant to do.
Yeah, well, I loved it. I feel like I want to learn it now.
Well, it's an I''O, and it's called the EO. The I is an E sound. EO. Very similar. I don't know if you had a nursery rhyme called Old MacDonald Had a Farm.
Yes.
So it sounds a little bit, they took that from the ancient Hawaiian. E-I-E-I-O.
It feels, I can feel myself kind of releasing and melting inside, actually.
Well, that's what it does. It's, again, you're a frequency.
Yeah.
And you heal with frequency. So when you receive a higher frequency, the old frequencies or the density just melts away. Because that's all it is a thought form. And you're sending it away into the ethers.
The chants and tonings are wonderful. Dr. Lesley and I, we have every couple of weeks we have some people over to the house, and we do actually it started in Hawaii. It's called the Intenders of the Highest Good. And we share our gratitudes and our intentions, and everybody supports each other on these intentions. We do a short meditation, but we also do toning afterwards, where everybody holds hands and does this. We pick a singular tone and just keep repeating it. And basically, we repeat it until everybody's got goosebumps.
Wonderful.
And then
What's the tone that you usually choose?
It could be anything from an om to an ah to an e, but
I think we'll do IO now.
Yeah.
And I also have practiced in the past. We in a group that I was with, we did a fair number of different chants and mantras, and there's a triple mantra we used to do. And it was so amazing when you did that. Everything, your whole life just changes before your eyes very quickly, and you go into this place, you could be in the most negative state, and you go into places of strength and wonderment.
Exactly.
It's wonderful.
In my one CD called Enchantment, I have the chants, and then it's interspersed with the sounds of the dolphins and the whales. And to hear a whale song is, again, turns you inside out. Just completely, it's like you don't know who you are. You're floating on a cloud like an angel. I've swum with the whales in Tonga and side by side, and it's just the most incredible thing I think I've ever done.
Wonderful. Yes, I was curious about what the connection might be between swimming with the whales and the dolphins and the Hawaiian Huna, but you've explained that very nicely. It has to do with the vibrational frequencies.
Right, exactly. The dolphins are, they're like us. They have to breathe. They have to come out of the water to breathe, and it's every 7 minutes or they'll die. So in a sense, they represent the breath. We have to take that deep ha breath to the top of our head where we die a spiritual death. So many people are just really breathing frivolously through their chest and through their mouth, and they create anxiety and depression when you do that. So you have to take that conscious breath to the top of the head and then and then release it with a ha breath. And when you do that, it's like being a dolphin or reaching your higher self.
When you do the ha breath, are you tracing your consciousness from the top of the head to a point further down and then back up again?
Yeah, you're just breathing deeply through the nose all the way up. I describe it in my book as filling an empty glass with water. You do 4 hot breaths for about 10 minutes. Every 4 breaths you take a break. But each 4 breaths fills it with a little bit more water, which is going to feed your higher self and invite it to come down inside of you. So it's a deep breath through the nose to the top of the head, and then a like an ah sound, like you'd make when you relax on the couch, you're all the way down to your toes if you want, to connect to ground yourself, I guess.
Yes. Well, what I feel like I'm learning so far is that the Hawaiian Huna healing is very gentle and approachable form of healing. It feels very easy to step into it. I mean, I know you were saying earlier, and I agree with you, that most people don't want to take responsibility for their self-healing. But I would feel like this is, I don't know, it's not a big hurdle to gently step into this. It feels very welcoming.
That's so true. And I give week-long seminars in Hawaii in August, and we study the ancient Hawaiian healing. I have 4 levels that I can take people through and teach them the symbols and experience the Huna healing there. And it's remarkable, but you just have to do it. Again, you learn something, and some people just kind of put it aside, but if it really sounds like you could benefit from it, then you start doing it and it becomes a regular practice.
So I have a question, which is, so I completely agree that all healing ultimately is self-healing and has to do with the individual taking responsibility for themselves. Mm-hmm. However, I noticed that when you were doing the chanting, that your chanting was having a healing effect on me. And so I've always imagined that the ancient Hawaiian Huna healers were a bit like shamans, and that they are able to, I suppose it's like any healing practitioner, that what they're doing is providing a catalyst for energetic shifts within the recipient.
Well, I acknowledge that, I'm in the healing arts, and that I do promote healing with people who are willing to walk through the door. If I open the door, they will walk through it. I can only do that when a person is deciding that they want to experience their DNA changing. We cannot interfere with anybody's free will. So, if someone is willing and is ready to make changes in their life, then I can be that catalyst to help them bridge the gap. Yeah. No, it's wonderful. And I also do the reconnected healing, which is something that we do to someone else. In other words, the Huna is mostly for self-healing practices, but with the reconnected healing, someone lies on a massage table, and then I pull the frequencies around them and stretch them and play with them while these frequencies go in and find out where they're going to heal this person and bring back balance into their life.
Well, so I was going to ask what the difference between the Huna and the reconnected healing was, so thank you. I think what we'll do, Belinda, is take another break, and then what we normally do with our guests, with your permission, is we get lots of our listeners write in with questions, oftentimes health issues, money issues, career issues, relationship issues, and questions about their own spiritual involvement and spiritual development. So with your permission, when we come back after the break, would you be willing to help us answer some listeners' questions?
Sure.
Thank you.
I can.
No, thank you. So, for listeners, you've been listening to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley and Corey, and this evening with Belinda Farrell, who is an expert in ancient Hawaiian Huna healing practices. And if you're just tuning in, and you didn't hear the previous part of the show, I encourage you to go to the podcast when it's up on the website, drlesleyphillips.com, because I want you to listen to Belinda doing her ancient Hawaiian chant, because I found it quite profound.
We can get to do it one more time after the break.
Oh, yes, before we answer the questions, to set the energy level. That sounds like a really good idea. So, listeners, we will be back after these messages. Hello, listeners. Welcome back to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. This evening, we've been talking to Belinda Farrell about ancient Hawaiian Huna healing, and I feel like it's a fabulous method for unlocking your truth. So much so that we wanted to ask Belinda to do her chant again before we go to your questions. Would you do that, Belinda? That would be lovely. It would set a lovely energy level.
This is the EO chant that takes everything back to creation so that it can be revised and worked over and come back again as something brand new. Okay.
Thank you so much. So now, listeners, we're going to share a couple of your questions with Linda. Do we have some healing focused questions, Corey?
Don't we always?
Yeah, we do.
And here's one from a man. A man actually wrote in for a question. And it's, we changed names, by the way, Belinda, so people aren't recognized on it.
Oh, so, I understand.
So this is a question from Rhett. And Rhett says, I have had persistent pain in my pelvis and urinary system for over 12 months. A few months ago, I had a very minor slip, which resulted in pain intensifying. It comes and goes at times, but then flares up again, which can last some time. My question is there an underlying emotion or emotions that may be contributing to this pain, or is it mostly physical? Thanks, Brett.
Well, the physical usually is the last thing that is created by the emotions. So the emotions start the process, and then it becomes in the physical manifestation in the body. And the pelvis area is, it's our sexual area. It's where we hold our issues around wealth and money and power. And I would question if he was going through some kind of relationship issues and hadn't resolved that, but that would be part of the forgiving of himself and but the hip also represents moving forward. And I just would question also if he's reluctant to move forward to the next step in his life.
Mm. Yes, thank you, Linda. And I took a quick look as well, and I agree with you. And some of the different things that I picked up on is that I believe that it's unexpressed anger, and the origin point has to do with his relationship with his mom, and kind of like a power struggle or a sort of dominant female figure that controlled what you could and couldn't do, which may, of course, now be playing out in present time relationships. So unexpressed anger.
Right. And there's so much of that affects the whole body. It just comes from the heart. The one thing you want to do is to free your heart from hatred and free your mind from worry. That's the goal.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Belinda. Corey, do we have another question?
Yes, we do. I lost it.
Oh, no.
Oh, but there's lots of...
Okay. See, that just shows you're probably already resolved.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah. Okay, here it is. It's from Dottie. And Dottie asks, how could I get over deep-seated resentment issues towards my mother?
Oh, gosh, isn't that funny? Because that's just what I was talking about with the other one. Gosh.
Well, learning how to do the Ho'oponopono, I think, is one of the most powerful things we can do. And, it's on my CD. It's just, again, when you see a picture of your mother, you put her down below you, and you offer the forgiveness to yourself for holding on to the way you're looking at your mother. I mean, your mother is who she is, but you want to be released from the way you're looking at her so that your energy can be freed up to be more creative and do more fun things. Right now, it's just holding you back. So you just say to yourself, imagine your mother down below you and say, I'm sorry, I love you, I forgive you, thank you. And then I take a cutting instrument or shake my body around like with the blades of my own self. And then with my hand, I just see that image of my mother or whoever it is down below me, just see her float away. Because you are a film director inside of you, and you're creating this film, and you're now changing the way you're looking at that film. You're changing each reel as you do this forgiveness, and so different things will come up. Your mother won't be so menacing anymore, and you'll be free to try new exciting things in your life.
It's interesting. I had an experience after my mother passed away. I was in a mediumship circle, and I was sitting there, and all of a sudden, and this is the first time anything happened to me like this, sitting there, and all of a sudden, in one ear, I hear somebody whispering to me, and it was my mother, and she said, I had many sleepless nights worrying about you, and also cried many nights because I couldn't protect you well enough.
Wow.
And it just, it was just so amazing. I still get goosebumps when I think about it. And what that did, it just healed any rift I had in my memory about my mother. And she was a hard lady. I mean, she was born World War I and then went through World War II in Europe and Holland. And she was a farmer's wife, and she was very, very tough, very tough woman. And she just, I never saw any pain. I saw pain in her, but I never knew what the pain was. But then that came out, and it was an amazing healing for myself, and I'm sure she healed on the other side as well.
And I think our parents only want the best for us, but they're doing whatever they can with the best that they have, and what they've been given. And so when you walk in their shoes and you receive that she was really caring for you, that's beautiful. It's validation that she loved you.
Oh, definitely. So I have another question, and we usually don't answer future time questions because it sort of pre-programs people to our concepts.
But you believe you create your own reality.
Create your own reality. So here's a question from B, and B says, will I have the strength to follow my heart this year? So this is a little bit more of a deeper question than just a future question, but
so maybe we can give us some guidance on how to follow the heart.
Oh boy, that is such. You have to be willing to step forward. I remember when I was doing fire walking with Tony Robbins, and that was such a metaphor for saying, if I can walk on these coals of 2,000 degrees, what else could I do in my life? And I wanted to drive a race car, but I didn't even know how to drive a stick shift. But this came up for me, and Tony teaches you, if I can't, I must. And if I must, I will. So I thought, okay, I want to learn how to drive a race car. I just have to find out where I can go and maybe go into a course or something. And so I signed up for this Grand Prix road racing course, scared to death, just with the feeling that I needed to go there. And as it turned out, I had some talent. And after the 4 days, I was hired to drive for Buick and Cadillac, and my stunt driving career began.
Mm-hmm. So I guess the answer is be courageous.
You have to step forward towards the dream, whatever that is. You have to make a step towards that dream because it's something coming from your soul. And if you don't answer it, you'll never know what that was. You'll never know what it could have been. You'll never know what you could have experienced.
Thank you so much. Now, unfortunately, Belinda, we are heading towards the end of the show. And so I wanted to ask you, maybe if there's some words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our listeners, that we haven't given you the chance to say yet.
Oh, I don't know all the answers. I wish I did. But I think the main thing that I have learned is to be in the present time, and the only way you can be in the present time is to forgive yourself from the past, and to forgive the way you're looking at the past, and to change the story that you have presently decided that is, concrete. Every story can be changed. Mm. And if you can lighten your load a little bit, it'll lighten your heart. And when your heart is light, you're more joyful.
Thank you. And if our listeners want to get a hold of you, if they want to purchase your wonderful CDs with the chants and the dolphin and whale song, or find about the trips where you're taking people to heal on the Hawaiian Islands and swim with dolphins, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, my website is Huna Healing, Huna healing.com, and my website is the Huna Healing, and my email address is there, and my telephone number. And yes, I have a couple of weeks in August for a one-on-one. So the person comes and I take them for a whole week as a tour guide in the water and tour guide on land, and it's an amazing experience to be with the wild spinner dolphins.
Don't be surprised if you see us down there.
What did he say?
He said, don't be surprised if you see us down there. I think he's feeling very...
Coming for a visit. A couple of my friends have been down. I think a couple have actually been to see you.
Really? Oh, wow. That would be wonderful. I've been doing it this is my 20th year of taking clients. Mm. And we call them in with the chants, and again, these are wild dolphins, so we're on their time schedule.
Well, Belinda, thank you so much for being on our show. You truly bring a healing presence, and I think I'll be listening to the podcast just to get those chants again.
Wonderful. Totally wonderful.
Well, thank you so much. It's really just such an honor to be asked to come on and to impart this message, and we want to share what we have. So yes, that's what my purpose is, to share the information.
Thank you for being a healing presence and for sharing it with us this evening.
Aloha, mahalo.
Aloha.
So that's the end of the show, listeners. We will be back next week. Same time, same place, at 7 o'clock, here on CIDL for another episode of Unlocking Your Truth.
Thank you for joining us. You've been listening to another Unlocking Your Truth podcast by Dr. Lesley Phillips. For more information, go to our website at drlesleyphillips.com. That's drlesleyphillips.com. Where you can ask questions or send her an email, and there's many free gifts on there for you as well. Come back again.